Agragiiq Sivukahmingunga Ataka Takawa Naka Akapak Sivokami Anglinga Hangunung Gatam Nakanakmang Ayu Mehan Tawatal Ngok Sivukak Tamahan Naka Tugakak Kangat Arawak Aywak Maklak Naksak Asangay Nak Kawak Asangay Nak Yakaluk Asangay Nak Tapam ng Askarmang Nunam Nunivak Sakhanang Nakakakut Akavzigamang Su Bagunaramang Su Talwa Hanggunang Makhtaraklutu Atakasu Angakasu Araverasi Ama Atatan Kamelikhluki Ashapagaluki Litung Nakanakmang Gigami Campi Yarakukut Ochkaninsu Apaka Arich Saktohak Maliktakluka Amavakluk Kayisaranan Peklunga Kavangan Hak Ang Torayakut Igani Kanarani Danaha Cam Kasali Takput Samavaklu Second Nam Ganlanganan in Vitman Campi Yarayun Naratunga Ang Yaranera Yarolka Ima 3-year Ngulunga Makilre Khalunga Yuput Schapagaluki Litunga Ayaraya Achtunga Pinex Salitaka Kiyachtas Lachput I am Agragiiq Apassingok. As you see in the pamphlet, I am the son of Daniel and Susan Apassingok. I grew up on St. Lawrence Island, both on land and in the sea. That island and the mighty Bering Sea are what we make native, and that makes us native. We take care of our land and ocean as they take care of us. The great land and ocean provide us with whales, walrus, a few kinds of seals, all kinds of birds, reindeer that has been on our island for over 100 years. They provide us with all kinds of fish and crab, the sea lives and plants we call tipuk of several kinds, seaweed. They also provide us with several kinds of greens and roots with berries of several kinds. Even water, what we need, is provided to us so freely. I learned by observation and participating in hunts with my father, with my maternal uncle Olavi, Lloyd Apatiki, with my paternal uncles and cousin. I would go camping with my maternal grandpa, Agragiiq Michael, down south side of the island. I would go camp to other side of our mountain at Keynote. In the past couple of years, we built a camp at Keynote, so we now camp there regularly. I often go way down south to the end of Keynote at where everyone calls Invit. I started hunting by going boating when I started remembering things when I was around 3. I learned by watching the men, and I got accustomed to that nature. In those days, we used to go whaling by walrus skin boats and sailing. We went whaling in spring by sailing on skin boat. We would be very close to home. We would be sailing all day out there without making any noise. Because if we make any banging noise, the bowhead whales have really good keen sense of hearing. They would be spooked and dive away. Luckily, by sailing, we would approach right up to them. We used to easily catch whales nearby the furthest. We'd go out and these would be no more than 10 miles. That is what I started whaling in. Unfortunately, it's getting harder to use the skin boats due to climate change. It stays colder longer into what's supposed to be spring. But even when it is cold, the ice starts flowing away. The open water freezes into young ice, which wears off the skin covering of the boat. Then when the water opens up more, it gets rough. Too windy for sails. We haven't been in skin boats sails for 7.5 years. We have been using aluminum skiffs and motors for whaling. We used to use those only for walrus hunting and everything else. It's easier to go through young ice in the aluminum boats with high power motors. In the skin boats, we use lower horsepower motors. Now the aluminum boats are noisy and the motor is constantly running, and we have to go further out to find whales. Only early in the morning we'd see whales very close to land. But after we head out, the whales go away and find others further out. I am 17 and the weather and climate is changing. Before my own eyes, it's taking longer for ice to arrive in the early winter, and it is leaving earlier in the spring. We don't have the duvok, the shore fast ice in Gambell anymore. Slush ice thickens and stays there, but once wind from inland blows, it breaks offline. Thick ice used to stay all winter long all around Gambell and didn't break off until mid-spring. There is no more thick ice that comes around. We have a decreasing window of opportunity to hunt migrating animals. Last spring we had to boat 134 miles east of Gambell to get the kind of walrus we seek after. That's over halfway to mainland Alaska. The good ice remained on the eastern end of St. Lawrence Island. All ice had gone through north on our end of the island already. In summer and fall, we are noticing permafrost melting undersea in lake coast, which is causing a lot of erosion and loss of land. Lagoons are becoming easily flooded. It is becoming windier. There aren't as much calm days anymore. Storms are becoming more intense. I am hoping things will be better. I was 7 when I first started hunting seals. I first caught a tiguk, a seal that year. Portions of that seal was shared with my Agragiiq Elders Apassingok and Grandma Debbie Apatiki, following Yupik customs to give my first catch to elders. From that time on, I went seal hunting on ninkis, or seal blinds, that are all along the coast on St. Lawrence Island. My favorite ninki is at Agragiiq, which is about 12 miles south of Gambell. I also started hunting birds that time. My favorite bird to hunt is a mitchapik, the common nighter. In 2012, I caught my first nanook. That day we were on our way to climb the cliffs to gather myrrh eggs, and we ran into a pair of bears. In Gambell, practicing hunting starts with mice and little birds like snow buntings. Then we get promoted to hunt larger animals like squirrels and shorebirds. As we progress, our rank in our hunting crew grows. The biggest beings to hunt on the island are polar bears and bowhead whales. From there, we can become a captain of a boat. This system is like being in school with the small animals. It's like we're in preschool or kindergarten. Then graduate with bears and whales, I have learned to survive out in the ocean and wilderness by being stranded. Hunting is never easy and simple. We go through hardships and motor troubles. Once I was boating with my uncle Olavi in the winter of 2012, and the motor's clamps came off the boat, but we didn't lose the motor. My uncle held on to it by the steering shaft. We went to a cake of ice and landed there, and 2 boats came and pulled us back home. In the winter of 2015, we were among hundreds of walrus on ice, and our motor broke down behind our mountain. We told folks back home, and my uncle brought us another motor. We were able to get back home before late. Another time in the summer of 2015, we were heading to Bunguk Island with my cousin Wiyu. Bunguk is just south of the eastern end of the island. We bumped into a kalmisak, rocks underwater, and broke the bottom of the motor. We were going right along the coast, so we paddled right to land, camped out there at the eastern end of the island for 2 days. We had a satellite phone, and we called in for search and rescue, who brought us a motor from Savunga. Another time last year, while boating, my dad, sister Nalu, and brother Buima and cousin Nola, our motor broke down. We paddled to the nearest cake of ice and went on there. We called in and told of our situation. Then a search and rescue volunteer boat came after 2 hours with another motor. We are taught on the island there are such hardships, and the biggest rule we are taught by the elders is to never become discouraged while hunting in hard situations. Even though we almost die, we must never give up. We must be prepared for any situation. We must know how to foretell the weather ourselves as our ancestors did. I first started being on front of our boat since I was 8 for walrus and seal hunting. That involved looking out for ice in front of the boat, looking out for game, shooting game, and harpooning them. As you can see in the pamphlet, I started using the darting gun for whaling since I was 11. I first started making the bomb when I was 13, which involved adding gunpowder and fuses. I started being a striker for whaling when I was 15. On the 17th of April we were boating and we caught a bearded seal. As evening came, we towed it back to home. While butchering the seal, one of our crew, Abatu, seen a whale spouting nearby. So after butchering, we went back out towards the whale. Not long after the chase, I struck the whale. The harpoon didn't stay on the whale. It mithoot. But fortunately, another crew put a harpoon in. It took 5 minutes to finish off the whale. After getting the whale ready for towing, it took about a couple hours to get back to land on the North Beach. We went home and rested and started butchering the next morning. It took a span of 4 days to completely finish butchering the 57 feet 11-inch whale. We were butchering. Our regional radio was doing reporting in Gambell and included the whale. After the article circulated the press, marine wildlife conservation activists Paul Watson read it and made counter remarks about the whale and about myself. He made me look and sound bad. Eventually, he took off a post about it, but he had thousands of followers, and a lot of them commented on his Facebook page post. It was saddening to see a lot of the comments even after it was taken down. A lot of that man's followers sent me messages to my Facebook account. Barely any of them were kind. I was threatened by a lot of them. This wasn't the first time Paul Watson attacked their way of whaling. In 2006, he blamed our hunters for killing children, which was actually an accident that happened on a whale tow when it got suddenly stormy. In 1997, he threatened to come to the island and disrupt our spring whaling. This was after a Greenpeace Zodiac helped tow in a bowhead whale. That hunters found out in the ocean during summer. Paul Watson stopped by in person on St. Lawrence Island in the 1980s when he was still with Greenpeace. He confounded Greenpeace, but the others would be in his hysterical ways, so he branched away, starting his own organization called Sea Shepherds. But we all know we must never be discouraged by any accident or anybody that may threaten us. I am part land, I am part water, I am always native. Let's be. Will you stand with me as I continue my hunting? Will you stand with me as we all continue our subsistence activities? Thank you.